Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back, everybody.
So let's ask everyone to send out your prayers and intentions for peace, although we do know many things have been planned for so very long. I mean, we're talking decades, centuries, maybe even longer.
Well, it goes, generation after generation, provided these beings, these controllers actually live a regular human life, which I think many of them live a lot longer than what they say. And they play these chess pieces far in advance. So they know what's going to happen. We're the ones who have to place our footing in a safe place because we don't know exactly what's happening. We just know there's going to be chaos for sure.
Absolutely. So you see over here, Russian police detain over 700 anti-war rallying people. And, that's the state of this world is if you stick up for peace, if you protest against things that are going on that you know in your heart is just wrong, well, you get thrown in jail or something else like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're doing these so-called roundups, but my gosh, we know whose names are on the list to be rounded up.
Yes, exactly. So this is breaking. Russia ready to negotiate with Ukraine, and as far as their surrender, Russia demands that Ukraine refuse to allow any weapons to be deployed in the country and guarantee they will remain neutral and not join NATO. And obviously, hopefully you guys have prepared yourself for this conflict because it's always just so sad. And as we become more empathetic, it gets harder to see atrocities. We get hardened to things in some ways, and people have pointed out, say, video games, for instance, can harden you if you're constantly playing these war games and stuff. Then when you see the real thing, it might harden the heart, so to speak. But in this age, when people are becoming more empathetic, in many cases, it can be devastating to the soul to see the type of destruction that is already happening over there.
It can definitely cause scarring. And this is where this whole time we've been practicing this Buddhist detachment, where we might have to step back and just view this in a different way and not allow the emotions to get too caught up, because that can actually make us sick.
Literally, yes. Again, that's it. Disease starts as dis-ease, and boy, how could you be at ease in the Ukraine right now? It would be impossible. This is part of what damages our emotions and our psyche, and then we need to clear this. And we're, again, clearing things of a spiritual nature in us right now as part of the ascension process. And traumas that have happened to not only us but our ancestors and those that have gone before us. And Sassy's clearing some of her traumas there.
Yes.
So yeah, Russia has invaded the Ukraine. As we look here, border guard post in Kyiv. Probable missile strike there. There's been a lot that has happened. You cannot keep up with this right now. The question is going to be, what's going to be the NATO response? That is really the biggest question right now, is what's the NATO response? And that's going to be part of a script that's going to unfold. And again, so much of this is louche, is energy of a negative sort feeding these fourth density beings. As we see this is a missile hitting an airport, and this is in western Ukraine. As you can see, the damage. And obviously, this is all ongoing right now. There's a lot of damage being done in many different ways. As you see here, ongoing battle in Chernihiv. Tanks spotted moving towards Chernihiv. And there's been battle going on around Chernobyl as well. Arms depot blown up.
And I was just asking Mike, because I have a hard time putting this stuff together, but as far as WW3 is concerned, they haven't claimed that, right?
No, no, they haven't declared it. Again, it's going to all be about how NATO responds, how this will end up playing out, and we're awaiting response from 46, and he might be giving a response as we're recording this, and we'll have to see how this plays out. From what I've read, they were talking stronger sanctions, which, many people will laugh at. And again, this is a situation where the powers that be know what they're doing, and they want to create this conflict because it'll allow them to pursue an even tighter agenda of control. If we are in a war situation, a global war, obviously you're going to have basically a martial law situation that potentially might stay around for years.
And one of the first things that I was told is that they're going to use this situation to ratchet down the laws when it comes to facial recognition, because there's going to be situations where there could be spies come in to the mix and cause trouble, and then they're going to require our faces to be scanned just to use the computer, just to use our own internet. So this, again, it's playing up to a bigger and bigger thing than we can see at the moment. So I thought that was kind of curious, not looking forward to it, but we'll see how the laws and stuff roll out moving forward.
Absolutely. And as we've said, there's been millions of illegal migrants that have come across the border in the past years, millions. So even if you just have a tiny fraction of that actually is, sleepers waiting to be activated, chaos can happen at any time. And if NATO does declare, maybe not today, maybe later, if they do declare some sort of war against Russia, then all that potentially can turn on. And the Galactics did tell us to basically brace yourselves, because they said what may happen is just instantaneous as this rolls on. Boom, 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 boom. Just like a domino effect of different events that will come in line, and we could end up seeing power outages, the grid going down in different areas. Of course, we've talked about EMPs and how they often would be one of the first things that would be used to create chaos, as we do see the headline that Russian forces capture Chernobyl area. Air raid sirens, and this is in Kyiv. He's got his helmet on. And there are multiple live feeds of Kyiv as well, which I was watching up to just starting this. And it looked relatively quiet, but you can sporadically hear the air raid sirens going off as people are leaving in droves. Obviously, you can't blame them. It's a crazy scene here. As you see this large air assault, Mi-8 helicopters in Antonov International Airport, Hostomel. Russia has seized control. And, apparently there have been a lot of losses as far as Russian military equipment as well. And this is the city of Uman. Apartment buildings. It's always messy. As you see, this missile flies overhead while reporters reporting. Obviously, that would be a very scary scenario. Now, this is
up to the start of the war between Ukraine and Russia. The Ukrainian Navy,
a U.S. naval base in Ukraine that was hit. Now, was there anything there as far as U.S. equipment? We don't know. But again, this right now, I think everything is being assessed, obviously, and we'll see what the next, bless you, the next act in the script is going to be.
Right. So, I mean, this is just something that I was telling Mike. I said I'd like to do a series of updates, because this is something where it's going to, increase. Fluid. It's going to be, I mean, things are going to be changing from minute to minute to minute. So we'll probably be on here a lot updating things.
Yeah, and this is a warehouse destroyed. So, the first thing is defense targets, critical infrastructure, military targets. Here you see at least 2 soldiers belonging to the Russian invasion force been captured by Ukrainian soldiers. It's only when we get the kids, and it's not going to be just kids. Like we saw Ukraine, they were interviewing people on the streets again, and there were some people that were, ready to just take up arms, do what they can. They were talking about women in their 50s, and even one lady that was in her 70s that was brandishing a gun, saying that they will fight to the last person. Of course, that is a show as well. They're always going to, you go back through the reels and you look at some of the World War II footage and everything, and you could see how it's all about, selling the side. It's selling the war. It's selling the side. Nobody wants the war. Well, the powers that be, perhaps, because again, it always tends to lead to greater control. As we see this tweet, 18 planes, and these 276 planes are big cargo transports, could be troop carriers as well, heading towards Kyiv. And the headlines here, the Daily Mail: Ukraine strikes back. Kyiv's troops have already shot down 5 Russian helicopters, destroyed dozens of tanks, and captured dozens of troops as Putin's forces take heavy losses. Again, when we look back through history, like I've been re-looking at some of Caesar's conquests, and you read his take on things, and there'll be these massive battles, and he'll say, well, we took 300 losses, but we killed 30,000. They're lying. Yeah, they always lie. It's always lying and bragging, and you cannot truly decipher exactly what's happening.
Well, one thing we know for sure and for certain is that the powers that be, they understand exactly what's going on. They have an agenda, and their agenda is to put on this puppet show for all of us to watch when they're taking their steps very carefully. They're reading their scripts very carefully, so that this is what we all have to look at and we have to focus, and kind of puts us in a state of fear.
Mm-hmm. And you see Russia vastly outmans Ukraine in every area as far as the military goes. And it's interesting, again, there's 3 carrier strike groups in the Mediterranean. There is if I remember right, there's 1 U.S. carrier, there's 1 French, and there's 1 Italian carrier. And the bulk of the U.S. forces are actually out there in the Pacific. So again, this could be stage 1. There might be other stages that come down as we might see action in other areas. So we could see the chaos that is ongoing. As you see, that's a downed copter right there. And then tanks with World War Z on it.
Now, what do we make of that, kids?
Right? Yeah, we were talking about that. There's all these echoes from the movies. Ukrainian forces detain servicemen. And that's the photo like we were talking about the Russian troops. So it is underway. As you see, Putin's troops raise Russian flag in Ukraine as those Z tanks lead second wave ground invasion after the aerial blitz. Zelenskyy says Ukraine has suffered serious losses after Russian airstrikes pound dozens of targets. And again, it's going to be all about the NATO response. Russia reports loss of a warplane, crashed due to pilot error. It wasn't shut down. No, it's pilot error. No, we can't acknowledge that it was shut down. This is exactly what you always see. And they have, supposedly, they have captured the Chernobyl power plant. And you see Russia makes civilian ship claim 2 cargo vessels came under fire in the Sea of Azov. And then this was a very ominous kind of statement here. So, of course, well, just we have to listen to his words. And what Putin said was that the consequences of any attempt to strike back following the country's invasion of the Ukraine would provoke a response never seen in history. So people have taken that to be a NUKE response, which would obviously be scary. Now, again, the guides have said that, the Galactics will not allow a full-scale NUKE conflagration. And again, we saw them break treaties, starting with number 45, breaking treaties that limited how small you can make them. So I think that, again, it's probing thresholds and seeing what you could get away with. Does that mean that we might not see blasts like we saw in Beirut? That's a possibility. And of course, they've been telegraphing these hypersonic weapons that move so fast they already hit by the time that you realize they're up. And this is a Ukrainian woman confronting a Russian soldier as, the occupation is beginning.
Right. So, just a lot of stuff that we need to watch, keep an eye on, and again, just step back a little bit. Hold the light over situations like this. You guys have spent a long time to build your light bodies, build your energy bodies, and now is the time to really, really use it. It's now.
Absolutely. And we see, this is from Sputnik. So, this is one of those times where it's always pretty easy to tell whether you're looking at, say, a Russian source or a NATO source, because there's always a little bit of a twist. This Sputnik says this is from Russia. Russian airstrikes destroy 74 Ukrainian military infrastructure targets, and they said that surgical strikes, but we could obviously see that civilians were hit too, as they always are. Always. Ukrainian air defenses neutralized. This is again from the Russian point. Turkish cargo ship in Black Sea reportedly hit by a bomb en route from Odessa. And the Kremlin's website went down as well. By the way, Taiwan's Air Force scrambled to warn away 9 Chinese aircraft that entered its air defense zone. Same day that Russia invades Ukraine. So it's been a lot of conjecture. And again, the bulk of the U.S. fleet at this point in time is off of the Chinese coast. It's south of Japan. So there's a lot of forces over there. Is it anticipation of something starting? And here you see China might be there tomorrow, warns Chinese state pundit in dire Taiwan-Ukraine comparison. Yep. The influential former editor and current commentator for China's state-run English daily, The Global Times, issued a shocking comment hours into Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Hu Zhizhen weighed in on Thursday's PLA fighter jet breach of Taiwan's air defense identification zone by saying, "Get used to it. There may be more PLA aircraft flying there tomorrow." Very interesting. But again, there's a reason why there's so many forces over there just off the Chinese coast. And this is the Senate of Canada. With leave of the Senate, the motion to confirm the declaration of a public order emergency proclaimed on February 14th, 2022, and revoked earlier today was withdrawn. So, as you may have heard, Trudeau lift the Emergencies Act. Perhaps, again, it wasn't out of the goodness of his heart. Perhaps it was because it was just not going to be accepted.
Right. Well, it's also something had to have happened, so it's not going to be conducive for him to do this. So he has to find another way. Again, it's about getting through that maze. How is he going to benefit himself? Apparently, this way wasn't going to be the most beneficial, so he's going to back up and regroup. That's what I'm seeing.
And again, now we have the war card in play.
Yes.
So now, nobody's thinking about the plague upon the land anymore because everybody's now fearful of World War III.
Yes, right, they are. So there's always something going on to get our attention going here, get our attention going there, and these are the things that we have to watch for.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you guys for your support over on Patreon and Ko-Fi. We could not do this without your support there in these times. and the demonization of channels, as we know. Thank you also for supporting medicinal foods. Use the coupon code EEA. It gets you a discount. Does help support this channel as well. Lots of good stuff there to help you detox, keep the immune system up. We definitely know we're always under assault as far as that goes. And do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com. Thanks for your patience with us getting back to get you scheduled. Just reach out, evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or eearts@protonmail.com. We will bring you guys more updates as it comes. Keep sending out the positive vibes. And at some point, the people of the world are going to wake up and they're going to say, enough with this BS. We don't go along with it. And it's when the power structure is removed that all this stops.
Yes. I mean, so in many ways, it's up to us. When are we going to stop supporting that structure?
Yes. When we step out of it and make it irrelevant, when they don't have anybody to, man all their equipment of destruction, we know they'll start using drones, they'll start using robots, they'll start using technology we haven't seen, the masses haven't seen, but at the same time, we need to just keep ourselves above the fray.
And as they adjust, we'll adjust. So it's all going to be okay. Namaste.
God bless and namaste.